Explore North Korea's hidden realities, from its political dictatorship to daily life under an oppressive regime. Discover shocking truths, unseen details, and untold stories. Perfect for audiences in the US, UK, Canada, and Australia, hungry for in-depth, insider knowledge. North Korea, one of the most secretive nations in the world, exists in stark contrast to modern democracies like the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia. Often described as a hermit kingdom, this country operates under an authoritarian regime, ruled by the Kim dynasty for over 70 years. This in-depth exploration uncovers the complex layers of North Korean life, politics, and society, diving into topics like its military-first policy, indoctrination programs, and human rights abuses. Political system and leadership. North Korea is officially known as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, though it functions as a dictatorship under the Kim family. The country's leadership has passed from Kim Il-sung to Kim Jong-il, and now to Kim Jong-un, making it the only communist dynasty in history. These leaders are worshipped with god-like reverence, and criticism of the regime is punishable by severe penalties, including imprisonment or execution. The state operates on the principles of Juche, a political ideology that emphasizes self-reliance, but in practice, it has led to widespread poverty, famine, and economic isolation. The government's grip extends into every aspect of life, from the strict control of media to the constant surveillance of its citizens. The economy. Survival amidst sanctions. North Korea's economy is heavily controlled by the state, and despite being rich in natural resources like coal and rare minerals, the country remains economically stagnant. International sanctions have crippled North Korea's trade with the rest of the world, particularly in light of its ongoing nuclear weapons program. Despite this, the regime funnels significant resources into its military, including the development of nuclear weapons and intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, positioning itself as a global threat. Black markets, known locally as Jongmadang, have emerged as a critical part of the economy, allowing citizens to trade goods, often smuggled in from China. These markets, while illegal, are tolerated by the government to some extent as they help alleviate the extreme food shortages. Everyday life in North Korea. For the average North Korean, life is marked by hardship and constant fear. The regime controls not only the media but also limits access to information from the outside world. Radios and televisions are tuned to state channels, and the internet is virtually non-existent for the general population. The country operates a strict class system known as songbun, which determines a person's social status based on their family's loyalty to the regime. Those in the lowest categories are often sent to labor camps or relegated to the poorest regions of the country. Meanwhile, the elite, concentrated in the capital Pyongyang, live in relative luxury compared to the rest of the population. Education is heavily focused on instilling loyalty to the state, with students being taught the greatness of the Kim family from a very young age. Propaganda is a daily part of life, and dissent is ruthlessly punished, not only for the individual but also for their entire family, often across 3 generations. Human rights violations and isolation. North Korea has one of the worst human rights records in the world. The regime runs a network of prison camps, where an estimated 200,000 people are held under brutal conditions. Defectors who escape tell harrowing stories of torture, starvation, and executions. Despite these well-documented abuses, North Korea denies the existence of such camps and refuses international scrutiny. The country's isolation is furthered by its ban on international travel for its citizens. Only the most trusted, high-ranking officials are permitted to leave the country, and even they are under strict surveillance. North Koreans caught attempting to flee face imprisonment or execution, and those who manage to escape to countries like China live in constant fear of being repatriated. Nuclear ambitions and global tensions. North Korea's development of nuclear weapons is its most significant source of global tension. The regime views its nuclear arsenal as essential to deterring foreign intervention, particularly from the United States. Over the years, multiple attempts at diplomacy and denuclearization talks have failed, and the country has conducted numerous missile tests, raising fears of conflict in the region. Despite international condemnation, North Korea shows no signs of slowing down its nuclear program, which has become a critical part of the regime's identity. The country's ability to maintain control internally, despite its economic difficulties, is in large part due to the constant state of military readiness and the propaganda that portrays the regime as standing strong against hostile foreign powers, particularly the US and its allies. The future of North Korea remains one of the last vestiges of totalitarian rule in the modern world, and its future is uncertain. The regime continues to defy international norms, and as long as the Kim family maintains its iron grip on power, significant change seems unlikely. However, the cracks in the system, economic hardships, black markets, and the growing number of defectors suggest that North Korea's rigid structure may not last forever. Help us reach 100 subscribers by clicking that subscribe button. Your support is essential for this channel's success as we continue to deliver detailed, eye-opening content like this.